Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the ANZCAR Thursday Night Thunder Series, coming to you live tonight for, I think it's round 4 of Las Vegas, and your commentary team tonight is myself, Bernie Weemers, and Ryan Shelton. Welcome Ryan, it's another great night for NASCAR, mate.
Yeah man, it's going to be real fun, especially now that we're at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We have our second mile-and-a-half track here for the series. And it should be a good one, especially with how this track evolves throughout the night.
Yeah, so having a look at the track information at the moment, it's 2.45 kilometres in length. Of course, the sky's clear out there, so no delay at the start as far as weather goes. 33 degrees Celsius, so it's pretty warm, and 92 degrees Fahrenheit. So how's this going to affect the drivers today?
With it being a pretty warm race, what's going to do is these tires are going to wear down extremely bad. They're going to be really quick to wear down. And also, with it being a hot race, you'll see these guys trying to move up into the shadows. So, like turn 1 and 2, you'll see the guys run more of a higher line throughout the race. Whereas in turn 3 and 4, you'll see them just take a really, really slow line, especially on the bottom. And watch out for that. Turn 2 and turn 4 wall. They'll be hitting those a few times. So we'll see a couple of side panels be ruined this race.
Okay, and what about any preferred groove, or are they going to pretty much slide up and down the track as you just said?
From the start of the race, and especially when you're on new tires, you'll see them hug the white line through the corners. Obviously, hard to get out to the wall. But as the tires wear down, depending on how the truck is set up, either the truck will get really, really tight or it'll get really, really loose. If it's really, really tight, you'll see them start way up right next to the wall and then turn down, doing a very, very late apex. So if it's loose, you'll just see them hug the wall all the way around it.
Okay, so
all the way around the corner.
Definitely keep an eye on that. And you're saying off air about the tyre surface, or the race surface is pretty abrasive. I guess how many laps do you reckon they'll get in before we start seeing tyre degradation around here?
I wouldn't say more than about 5 or 10 laps. You'll start to see these guys start to move around. You also start to see them really want to work a different groove after about 10 laps or so.
Okay, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And of course, folks, tonight they have one fast repair, unlimited incidents limit, but I'll tell you what, we saw last week they burned through those fast repairs within the first corner. It was pretty hectic. But 60 laps around here tonight, folks, so go and get your favourite beverage, settle down, because we're going to be going racing here very shortly. What we're seeing now, though, is qualifying, and we can see James Foster out. Basically, they will get 2 flying laps, 1 warm-up lap, 2 flying laps to set it, and they've got 10 minutes, so they don't all have to go out at once and do it. But that's generally what we see here, Ryan.
Yeah, so normally the way I like to do it, I personally like to just go straight out of the box and run 2 quick laps, and if I feel like I need more practice, I'll even use the extra qualifying time to run a few more laps in practice too.
Okay.
So I just like to get out there and also throw down 2 laps. Hopefully I'm on the top of the timesheet and give everybody something to run for.
Yeah, well, James Foster, he's just set the first time a 30.413. So he's set in provisional poles. We've got Danny G out there at the moment, coming up the back stretch here now. And we'll see what he can set, and if he can better or match that time. So looking at the moment, we've got Jake Blackhall also up here, Ryan.
Yeah, Jake Blackhall, he took pole so far. He's about 4/100ths of a second in front, as James Foster puts down his second lap, which normally will be faster.
Okay.
Than the first lap.
So yeah, he's jumped up to pole. Now we can see Jake Blackhall, he's using the skirt. I guess that's what you call it, of the racetrack there. and we'll see if he can better it. He's on his flying lap now as he's just coming up through turn 2 up towards the back straight onto turn 3 and 4.
Yep. So yeah, he used a lot of that apron down there. That's basically just going to shorten the track up a lot. Normally your first lap is going to be pretty fast. Your second lap will always be your fastest lap. In this situation with these trucks and this track, it will always be your fastest lap, as it is. You just do not have enough speed through 3 and 4 that you would your second time around. Normally, your first lap is you're not going as fast going down the front stretch, so your second lap will be faster, and then your third lap your tires are just completely worn out. So
yeah, so at the moment we've got Jake Blackhall sitting on provisional pole. His time was a 30.150 seconds. We can see Steve Williams coming through for his second lap now, sitting in 8th. What can he do? Yes, he's jumped up to 7th, so he's pushed Tim Fatulks out down to 8th position. So looking at your top 10 as they stand at the moment, folks, Jake Blackhall provisional pole, James Foster 2nd, Darren Lord followed by Norman Clark in 4th. We've got Raymond Yeager in 5th, then Phil Otto 6th, 7th Steve Williams, Tim Fultuz, I'm going to get that wrong, we'll just call him Tim, in 8th. 9th, Craig Lawless, and Danny G rounds out our top 10. But if we have a look at the gap, they're being separated by, 3/10 of a second.
yeah, and that's the cool thing about oval racing, is that even though you're in 14th position, you're only 7/10 slower than Jake Blackhall. Now 15th position, as it looks like somebody else put down a lap. But that's one of the cool things. It keeps everybody sort of together when it comes to speed, and it really makes some really close and competitive action, as we see Edward Foster take a second place with a 171, 30.171.
Yeah, and he's going to love that because he's got quite a bit of a competitive streak, does old Edward, especially with his younger brother James. So he's going to be really happy to have pipped him in qualifying so far, but not by much though, 0.005 of a second.
Yeah, and one of the more interesting things we see is Jason Martin, last week's winner. He was second in practice. Comes across the line in 11th so far, but now he is taken that pole position at a 30.119.
That's a fantastic lap, and he's throwing down the gauntlet, isn't he? We saw this last week. Jason Martin, Jake Blackhall, this battle they were going on. Jake Blackhall on the last pits did not take enough fuel, and he had to go into fuel saving, which let Jason Martin get away. So tonight we resume that battle, and I'm sure Jake's not going to make that same mistake again.
Yeah. Losing on fuel is never a fun thing to do, as we just saw Jason Martin almost lose it on his second lap, so ruined both his second and third lap as he got loose into turn 3. But losing on fuel is never a fun thing to do ever. So if you can make sure to fix that this time around, you're more than happy.
Yeah, he basically said he got out there, started the chase, and then his engineer basically told him to start driving to a number, and he had to back it off, and then he went into the mode of just running to the gap behind him just to make sure he got home. We just saw Roger Clark there. He's set 8th fastest time. He's done now as he comes into the pits. Who else have we got out there at the moment? Dave Douglas. He's also on his 3rd lap. He's qualified 4th at the moment, and I'd say he's done. But we've got a couple of guys out there that haven't done their laps. That's Jason Fewens and Riley Curtis, and we haven't seen Matt Stratford hit the track as yet.
Yep, so they still have 3 minutes left until they've got to do it. So with 30-second lap times, you can really wait it out. Some people do, some people don't. I do expect Matt Stratford to be towards the front because he's normally pretty quick at these things. As Jason has done his first lap with a 30.541.
Yeah, that's moving him into 17th. He's coming on to his second lap now. This generally should be faster, as you said. It is in the case of anyone anyway. Well, most of them. Comes across 30.471. He's going up to 15th, but that's his qualifying done.
Yeah, he's going to shut her down. It looked like he went really wide in turn 3. As we see Riley Curtis will try to attempt his 3 laps here.
Yeah, so he's done his first one, 30.651. That's good for 19th position. So we'll see what he can do on this second one now that he's into the groove. What's his car, well, as far as the handling goes, what do you think? Because, of course, this is fixed setup, but can you read much into what his truck's doing?
It's going to take a little second, but it does look like it's handling pretty good through 3 and 4 that time around. He's not using a whole lot of wheel. He's not turning it in a whole lot as we see him do a 30.410 into 15th position. But it looks like it's actually handling pretty well. It looks like he's got it pretty dialed in as he's not using a whole lot of the track. I expect him to be a little bit higher coming into turn 1. Now he's a lot higher through turn 2 and 3, and he's just going to shut her down.
Yeah, and we've got Danny Trim. He's just joined the server this early start, folks. We started half an hour early this week because of New Zealand's gone to daylight saving. It might have caught a few guys out, but I'll tell you what, 23 cars we have here at Las Vegas, and this series is just going from strength to strength. As now we see Danny Trim coming across. He will start his qualifying, and we'll see what he can do. He's ranked 23rd, of course, because he's just come in the server. As he comes across the line for the first time, 30.804 moves him to 21st.
As you can see, he's starting really, really low, and then he's doing more of what's called a diamond. That's something you'd see more on a short track, or something you'd see more with like a high downforce vehicle. This truck you can consider a high downforce, but it looks like he's getting really, really tight as he's going through 3 and 4 because he's entering pretty low. He needs to enter up a lot higher so that he can roll through the corner a little bit. As that brings him to 16th position, he just shuts it down.
Yeah, and there's a big question mark I have at the moment over Matt Stratford. He's in the server, but he has not turned a lap. And I doubt we'll be seeing him take part in the race tonight. And if he is, he's going to be starting at plumb last in 23rd position. So we can see the safety car out there. Let's have a look at the grid, folks, so you can see where your favourite driver will be starting from tonight. So Jason Martin takes pole position with a 30.119. On the outside, he'll have Jake Blackhall starting beside him. Then in third is Edward Foster, followed by Dave Douglas on the outside. In the third row, we have James Foster, and then Darren Lord. He's going to start in sixth. In 7th, Norman Clark and Rodney Morris will start in 8th. In 9th, we've got Roger Clark. So father-son, 7th and 9th. Raymond Yeager will start out at 10th tonight. Phil Otto, 11th. 12th is Stephen Williams. Out of 13th is Tim... Yep, we'll call him Tim because I can't pronounce his last name. 14th, Darren Bond. 15th, we've got Riley Curtis, and then Danny Trim will start out of 16th. Jason Fewens, he'll start out of 17th tonight, with Craig Lawless starting on the outside of him in 18th. Starting out in 19th is Danny G. Then we have in 20th, Daniel Stevens. Steve Hoppett, he's going to start out at 21st tonight, with Darren O'Brien in 22nd. We do have Matt Stratford situated in 23rd, and Jason Ress in 24th, but Matt still is not in the server, so I doubt he'll take the start here tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, he might take the start. He might have just wanted to start last just to kind of give him a chance to kind of run some laps and not really have any issues. As we see, Jason Ress has just joined. As we see Matt Stratford do that, just that he just wanted to start last and just kind of get some laps underneath them to kind of get through it.
Yeah, so long race here tonight, 60 laps. If they get a lot of green, it'll go pretty quick though. 30-second laps. We could be done and dusted here in an hour, or we could be here a bit longer depending on safety cars. I can see the one car very slow off the line up the back. I'll call them trucks because that's what they are. And you can just see them now forming up behind the pace car, and then we're going to go racing.
Yep, and it should be a good one. Should be a real good one. I think we'll be a little light on the cautions this week.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be as much as last week.
Yeah, I think last week we had 9 cautions, and we even had one caution that came out in the first corner. But, you can just see them now coming up the back straight, formation, and the safety car will come in, and then Jason, he should have control of this field, and pretty much they go on green from what I understand.
Yeah, so you do have an option. I'm not sure about this series in particular, but you can, there's, as soon as the safety car goes down into the pits, you as the leader are allowed to go. You can go all the way, you can wait all the way up until it's turns green, and then
Yeah, I might get you to turn your mic up a bit, but it's just a bit low with all the sounds of these cars, Ryan. But here we go, folks. We're underway here at Las Vegas, and at the moment, looking at, oh my goodness, I've got to update this. Jason Martin has taken the lead, and I'm just trying to get my telemetry up. So to Jason Martin first, Edward Foster second, Jake Blackhall at the moment. He's sitting in third as the field goes past for the first time.
Daniel Trim has gone 3 wide to make a pass on Riley Curtis and Darren Bond. So he has actually moved himself 2 positions from where he started, just on the backstretch alone, and is looking on 10 miles for another position as he tries to make it 3 wide again, and he backs out, making it better for himself.
Yeah, and we just saw Jake Blackhall up front here. He made a move on Edward Foster, took that position, and now we've got James Foster having a crack at his older brother here, having a look on the inside. We'll see what he can do.
Yeah, so Roger Clark just is getting passed up by Rodney Morris, but with that high line, he works it correct. He can keep ahead of Rodney Morris there. He should be able to, if he runs it just right.
Yeah, he's on the outside there, as you said. He's got Darren Lord, Rodney Morris on the inside of him. Darren Lord on the 015 just behind him, taking that low line as well as Roger comes down. That was pretty close there, Ryan.
Yeah, it looked like he tried to just get in behind Rodney Morris before Darren Lord got there. But it almost didn't pay off. It almost turned into a catastrophe as they start to get a little more single file. And we see Daniel Trim has moved into 13th position with Tim all over his bumper going into turn 1.
Yes, Denny Trim's on the inside there. He's got Raymond, who's that? No, Stephen Williams on the outside in the 45. That's Tim. He's trying to follow Daniel Trim through, which he does now. So Daniel Trim, he's on the march at the moment.
Yeah, he's already moved up 4 positions in the first couple of laps. We're on lap 5 now, as we see Norman Clark on the outside of Roger Clark. He's trying to make that position. He's trying to keep Darren Lord from taking away that 6th spot. It actually looked like Norman Clark may have lost a few positions that lap.
Yeah, Norman's been held up on the outside there, held up high, but we saw last week he actually made that work, and he did it very well. And I tell you what, the guys had to work really hard to get past Norman last week.
Yep, and yeah, last week at Iowa was more of a short track with that track also has what's called progressive banking, where the lower line has less banking than the higher lines. The higher line is actually preferred line around 3 and 4 at Iowa. But here it is flat, as we see Darren Lord try to take that inside line. But with the track being so wide, you can basically take whatever line you want to make. As Darren Lord finally takes the spot away from Norman Clark, but Norman Clark is going to try to stay on his inside.
Yeah, and I was speaking to Roger Clark, his son, last week about Norman, and Norman is a bloke that's done a lot of racing, a lot of real-world racing. He's been in rally car racing and all sorts of different things, so he's going to be showing his skill level, and he's got a very, very high skill level when it comes to his racing, that's for sure.
Yeah, as we saw Darren Lord there, he just got really, really tight. He tried to give him gas pretty early. He almost hit the wall, so he had to let out the gas, and that has let 3 cars pass him, including Daniel Trim, who is on a mission. He is already up to 10th place currently, trying to take that 10th place away from Darren Lord, as he started in 16th position and came in with almost no practice laps whatsoever.
Yeah, you can see he's just taken that position, and right behind him, though, is Darren Lord in the 015 subway entry. You can see Darren is just having a look on the inside, but slowly but surely, Daniel Trim is starting to get a gap.
Yeah, Darren Lord is this had not been his race so far. We're only 10 laps in. So it's still a very long race. Still has 50 laps to make him move, but he does need to make sure that he doesn't do what he's been doing, which is tearing up that right front tire. That is one of the keys to mile and a half racing, is that you do not tear up that right front tire. If you tear it up, the truck gets tight, and you lose basically all speed you had before. Lose speed, especially through these corners. You can't keep that momentum up. These are momentum vehicles. If you can't keep the momentum up, somebody else is, and you're going to get dropped like a weight.
Yeah, one driver I'm seeing out there at the moment is the 117, Darren Bond. Last time by, he got a bit of a wiggle going. He seems to have settled down now, but at the moment, Danny G is all over him and trying to make that position. Who was that? That was a 23.
Yep, Raymond Jagger. He hit the wall. He just got on the gas just a little too soon, and he hit the wall, and that was almost awful for everybody. Raymond will have a lot of right side damage, and that's going to cause a bit of a mess when he tries to come, especially later in the runs.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we're just having a look at the West End Mazda replay here, and truck, folks, pushed, and he just hit the wall. The 117 actually clipped him on the way through, and that was a close one. But we're still under green here. We can see now Raymond Jaeger back on the inside line. He hasn't brought that truck, oh man, I'm having a run tonight, into the pits for service, so he must be reasonably happy with it. But I guess, Ryan, if you did have a bit of a panel rub and you did bring it in, the pace of this race, you'd pretty much be down at least 2 or 3 laps by the time you got it repaired, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so you'll definitely be at least 1 lap down, maybe even 2, as we actually missed what happened in the back. In the back of the field, we had Jason Ress and Steve Hoppett both having issues. It looked like Stephen Hoppett got really, really tight coming off turn 2, and actually got into Jason Ress, and they wrecked off the racing surface, which didn't bring out a yellow. But both of those cars are now, and we have a yellow now.
Yeah, we certainly do, and we can see Matt Stratford there locking it up, and we're going to jump back and try and work out what has brought out this pace car tonight, and let's jump back and have a look, see if we can work this out.
What it looks like is, it actually looks like Daniel Trim got into Phil Otto. Phil Otto just came back onto the track and got Darren Lord, and that it just went on from there.
Yeah, so we're going to have a look at this replay. We'll keep an eye on Phil Otto here and see. So Phil Otto's a number 1. Danny Trim, yeah, Danny's, as you said, just tapped the rear end of Phil, and it's unsettled the truck. And we've already got the 14 though in the wall on the inside, but the number 1 straight up, and he's collected. Wow, it's going off the 67 into the 117. I think there was about 3 accidents that was the result of that. James Foster, he was the first one I saw into the wall.
Yep, and yeah, that's what happens when you start getting that right front tire. It just starts to go away. And once that right front tire goes away, you hit that turn 2 wall. This is what ended up happening.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened to James Foster. And right behind him, you can see the number 1 got loose in the same spot. James actually hit the outer wall into the inner wall. Then we saw Phil Otto come up the track after losing it in the same spot. But further up, the 67 and the 117, they also got into each other just past that accident. But now we can see pace car is out, folks. 44 laps remaining here. So that was a pretty good start to the race, wasn't it, Ryan? We had 16 laps pretty much under green.
Yeah, and that was a very very good run. Gives these guys a chance to kind of reset, figure out what happened the last time around. You got 15 laps on your belt with the green flag run. How do you fix it? How do you take in? How do you digest what just happened? And how do you adjust? I think we'll see more people run the higher line than run the lower line this next time around, just to see if there might be a little more grip up there. And also, I think you'll start to see that turn 2 wall start to come in more and more and more, especially as the race runs down. These guys start to realize there's not a whole lot of laps left in this race.
Yeah, and we're just looking to see who's going to get the lucky dog. I think the way it's looking at the moment, it should be the number 81, Steve Hoppett. He's out there second in line on the pace car. I'm just seeing who's in front of him. That's the 67, Jason Fewens. But Jason's actually on the lead lap. So Steve should get waved by here, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so it depends on how this works out, because it actually shows that Jason Ress is ahead of Stephen Hoppett.
Okay, yeah, you're right. But we've got him, he's way down. Maybe
I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah, because we've got Steve Hoppett at the moment right up behind the pace car. Jason Ress is meant to be in front of him, but he's actually sitting at the end of the train. So
yeah, normally the lucky dog would have already gone. So what's going to happen is Steve Hoppett is actually going to... Okay, so here's what happened. Jason Ress and Steve Hoppett were both 2 laps down. Because it looks like Jason Ress may have got his lap back just because he was ahead of the pace car and he's already gotten that lap in return. And Steve Hoppett will still be a lap down, but he'll be at the back of the train instead of being right in front of Roger Clark, being a lap down. So he will pass the pace car. It looks like they're going to go ahead and pass the pace car here. And they will go to the back of the line. And he will be 1 lap down. And him and Jason Ress will be racing for that lucky dog.
Yeah, so we're still waiting to see Steve Hoppett go past. He's sitting up there all by his lonesome, just waiting for the signal from the pace car to go by. We did see the 67, that was Jason Fewens, go through, and we'll get racing here very shortly. The pace car lights are out. Now we see Steve Hoppett. He has had that wave through, so he's going to try and get up to speed and get onto the back of these. No doubt he's going to try and time this, if he's got enough time to do it, to be flat out when they go green and as close to the rear end of that field as he possibly can.
Yeah, I think he might have waited just a little too short there. We'll see if he can catch back up. But we will go green as soon as the pace car goes down. Now, do you remember, Roger Clark has not pitted yet. his tires are going to be very, very worn out.
Yeah, and he's got Jason Martin. Now he goes on green. Good jump there, but Jake Blackhall, he's also going on the inside of Jason Martin. He's keen to get a win tonight. And we see now as Roger Clark leads through turn 2. Then we've got Jake Blackhall, followed by Jason Martin, Dave Douglas, Edward Foster. That's your top 5, folks, as they come up the back straight.
Yeah, so Roger Clark being out there on tires that are almost half a second to a second slower than what these guys are running will really throw a spanner in it. It's really going to be an issue for the guys who are passing him, as he will be slow. He may have wanted to wait and try to see if he could get out front. He may get a quick caution, grab some tires, and he'll be up front. As you see, Jake Blackhall just got in front of him, and he's going to try to go below him and race him, but I don't think this is going to work. Jake's just a little too fast, and that truck is much tighter than Jake Blackhall's. As you see, Jason Martin will try to take the outside line too.
Yeah, so at the moment Roger's going defensive, which he needs to, because as you said, his tyres are pretty old compared to all the others there. So Jason Martin now on the outside of Roger Clark. Roger's keeping it down. They're hanging in. Edward Foster now in the RRTV ute or truck. He's now moving to the outside. So they're working that high line, and they've seen 2 cars do it, and we'll see now if Edward can do the same.
And you'll see these guys reach upwards to 300 kilometers an hour when they hit turn 1, especially if they run a high line in the draft that they're running currently. They're going to be miles ahead of Roger Clark here soon. But just to give kind of an idea of how fast they're going 300 kilometers at the entry of the corner, and then in the center of the corner they're only doing 285 kilometers an hour. So they're really not dropping off a whole lot. It's really just a lift off the gas and get right back in it. As we see Edward Foster almost got into the wall. He's using every bit of the track and then a little bit more.
And further back here we can see Daniel Trim now. He's on the back of Roger Clark. Roger's falling like a stone at the moment. Did start from pole, old tyres. He's down to 4th, about to go to 5th, as Daniel Trim is about to try to take another position away tonight.
Yeah, he's on a mission. He wants to do really, really well. He's really shown it off for that PSS truck. He's really trying to make sure that he is talked about the top drivers in the series. As we see Tim Faults go below Dave Douglas, and Dave Douglas keeps it off the wall. We'll see if he can hold it up there on that top line. And what I think is probably one of the best looking trucks in that number 10 truck of Dave Douglas.
Yeah, it's definitely noticeable, isn't it? That blue, white and orange number 10. But he's having a good run here on Tim. Tim's in the 45, and he's trying to chase down in turn Rodney Maris in the 041.
Yeah, Tim, we saw earlier in the race, he was making a few passes here and there. As we saw, Darren Lord was dropping tremendously. He was trying to make some positions up with Daniel Trim. But I think he's gonna not want to settle for 7th place. So we'll see if he can't move up in that 45 truck.
Yeah, well, he was having a look there, wasn't he, on Rodney Maris. Now he's on the outside, gets it a little bit taily there. Also see Daniel Trim on the high side, and now the 041. Rodney Maris down on the inside here, and they're almost going to make it 3 wide here as Tim's now getting involved. He doesn't know where to go. 3 wide down the front stretch here, and let's see what Tim can do as he comes back up off the apron. 3, whoa, it's getting close.
Yeah, you can't really enter the corner that low if you want to make it. If he had a spotter, he probably would have gone a little bit higher, would have been able to make something of that move. But if you're entering the corner that low, you're just not going to have the speed that Daniel Trim and Rodney Morris are going to have.
Yeah, and at the moment we're riding with Tim in the gyro cam. He's really got nowhere to go. He's on the inside with Rodney. But on the high side, you've got Daniel Trim, and now, all of a sudden, Rodney lost momentum, and Tim was almost in the back of him.
Yeah, as you saw, Rodney Morris just got really, really tight there on the inside. It looks like these trucks tend to tighten up the further you go into the run. That's what I was talking about, that right front tire earlier, as you see Tim fall to the same exact thing. Trying to get below the truck, and when you have that right front tire just start eating up, get tired. Oh, Daniel Trim is loose.
Yeah, I don't know if he got the wall, but it's going to be costly because the yellow flag will not come out on that. Let's jump back and have a look at that replay. And
yeah, it looks like he just got right below that white line where the banking stops. When you get off the banking like that, it creates the truck getting loose, and it just went around.
yeah, there's no coming back from that, was it? And I tell you what, he nearly got cleaned up by Rodney there, and then, of course, he's yanked that wheel as fast.
Oh, Rodney Morris has been around too.
Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. Just having a look at Daniel Trim there, because he basically pretty much hooked it to the left there to keep it off the wall, and we can see him back here in 29th. So you said Rodney's also gone around, did you?
Yep, Tim Faults hit the wall at turn 2, and that bounced him straight into the 041 truck of Rodney Morris, and he had to get a tow because his truck is completely ruined. Actually, no, he's still driving it around, but he is yet to make it to the start-finish line. He's going to go multiple laps down. This is almost probably going to ruin his race.
Yeah, and we're just looking at this replay now. We've got Tim on the outside, Rodney on the inside. We've got Dave underneath Tim. And you were saying Tim's got into the wall, did you?
Yeah. Hit the wall at turn 2, and it was nowhere for the 041 to go.
Yeah, hard into the wall there, and I'm surprised that didn't bring out a pace car.
Yeah, so in oval racing, if you have a wreck and you wreck off the racing surface, it does not bring out a yellow flag. As we now move up into the second position with Jake Blackhall on that number 97 truck. They've got Edward Foster right on his tailgate. He is giving no room for Jake Blackhall to make a mistake. If he makes a mistake, both of them are going to get collected.
Yeah, so Edward Foster's looking very racy here tonight. Now, coming into last round, Jake Blackhall, he was undefeated. He had won the first 2 rounds, but due to that mishap on the last pit, he didn't take enough fuel. He had to pace at home. That allowed Jason Martin to take a win. Now, Edward Foster, he's decided he wants to try to take 1 round here tonight at Las Vegas.
Yep, and what you'll see here is now that the 041, he is currently scored as 3 laps down. He will actually be way faster than these guys ahead of him because he's on the new tires. He's got new tires, even though he is actually a little bit slower than these guys. He's not the top 3. He hadn't ran a top 3 all season long, but you'll see that he will be able to keep up, if not even pass these guys, if he can get that truck wound up correctly.
So who was that, sorry?
Out of 041, he just popped out of the pits, and now he's he's right behind the battle for second and third with Jake Blackhall and Edward Foster.
Yeah, that's Rodney Morris, isn't it? And we see now Edward, he had a look on the high side, that wasn't going to work. He's now dived to the inside, and he's made that move quite easily. I'm not sure what happened to Jake there, but Jake's backed right out of it. Oh, there goes Rodney again.
Yep. I think he may have, I think he just let him go. He knows that Edward's a little bit faster, and as soon as Edward got to there, I think he just wanted to not make any mistakes. So he just let him by and took the high line and let him run around.
And looking at Matt Stratford at the moment, he started pretty much last tonight. He's already up to 8th position, or 7th now. He's just taken Norman Clark and Riley Curtis. He's now moving up on the back of Danny G and Dave Douglas. So Matt Stratford is on the march forwards.
Yeah, so there's a huge battle pack right here. In 5th place is Dave Douglas, and he is being chased by an absolute ton of people right now. You got Danny G right behind him, Matt Stratford behind that, and then you got 2 wide with Riley Curtis and Norman Clark. And these guys are absolutely going for it. Dave Douglas takes the high line as you see Danny G take the low line. This is the beauty of 1.5 mile track. You can take whatever line you want. You kind of want to take the opposite line to what the guy in front of you is taking. If you take the same line, you'll have what's called arrow push, where the front of the truck just does not have as much grip. The truck will push up towards the wall. As you see here, it looks like Danny G just couldn't make that line work, so he might try again as Matt Stratford is going to go low, and it looks like he'll make that line work.
Yeah, he's taken that position, but now there's contact behind him though, the 13 and Riley Curtis, I think it was, getting into each other, and a bit of panel rubbing, but they continue going.
Yep. And if you notice that Danny G is running right next to the wall in turns 1 and 2. He's trying to get into those shadows, those cooler parts of the track. A cooler part of the track will definitely give you more grip. So it looks like he's trying to exploit that and really try to make it a really good run through turn 1 and 2. Make sure those guys stay behind him.
Just trying to get a good camera view here, folks. Sorry about that, but yeah, Danny G's now on the low side, looking behind Matt Stratford, but the 93 Riley Curtis, he's coming past Norman Clark, and he did it the long way, but he did it on the high line, and Riley Curtis all of a sudden is looking good up here. He's taken the very high line, and then he's trying to cut down on them right across the apron here on the grass, and yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't think the line that he's taking is going to be the best. If he can get in front of the 13, he does the slide job, one of the dirt track moves. So we'll see if he can't keep in front of him for the rest of this run.
Yeah, so when they do that slide job, how do the other drivers like it? Is it considered a dirty move, or is it just a tactic that if you can throw it up on the inside there, slide it up to take that position?
Normally it's seen as a clean move. It's annoying to have it happen to you, but it's really satisfying when you get it done correctly. But it's also easy to counter, as we see Danny G. Oh, there goes Riley Curtis, and he has smacked the wall on the inside. His truck is absolutely blown down now.
Yeah, he actually got it up on the side there, didn't he? And we'll jump back to the West End Mazda replay and have a look at this once more. He smacked the wall hard, I tell you what.
That one he'd feel in the morning if he was running in VR.
Yeah, he certainly would. And we're just having a look at where this let go. He actually got it up into the wall up there at South Point. And of course, once he got it going, hard into the wall there, and there was no coming back from that.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a mess as we see Edward Foster's now having to deal with, up in the second place, he's now having to deal with a little bit of lap traffic. You see Rodney Morris right from, like I was saying earlier, he should have a faster truck because he is on tires that are a little bit newer. But Edward Foster has actually made up a lot of time. Ever since he got rid of Jake Blackhall kind of stayed still, but Edward Foster has started to move up. He is only within a second, and now he's dropped a little bit back. He's 1.1 seconds behind Jason Martin, so that's going to be something interesting to watch later on.
Yeah, it certainly is. We've got 14 laps remaining here at Las Vegas, and going by what we've seen tonight, folks, plenty of action, only one pace car here tonight at Las Vegas. I have a feeling that is because it's such a wide inner runoff area there. They might be coming to grips here, or to grief here, Ryan, but as you said, it's not on the racetrack, so it's not bringing out that pace car.
Yep, and so you'll see that more and more often. But if they do come back onto the track, you will see that pace car come out. So as we see, if we move back to the 12th and 13th position, we get Craig Lawless trying to run away from Darren Vaughn. Craig Lawless is trying. Oh, there's a wreck right in front of him. Oh, who is that? I don't know who that is. And that is Jason Flint. He hit the wall, and then his truck managed to go over the wall.
So, what's he doing in this situation? I've never seen a car go over the wall like that.
He's just kind of hoping for an opening. Well, he's got an opening here. So let's see. I guess it works. So his race was probably over, considering there's only a few laps left in this one. We're only about 13 laps remaining in this race.
We're going to have a look at this on a replay, because he sort of hit the wall, and the wall sort of grabbed him and just dragged the truck over. And we'll have a look at this.
Yeah, he just kind of was there.
iRacing physics, I'd say. Potential. Yep. That was bizarre, but at least we know you can go over the inside of the wall and you can make your way back on the track. We're down to 10 laps here, folks. Now they've got 24 starters. We've still got the top 15 in the lead lap. So looking at our leader at the moment, we've got Jason Martin. Let's bring it up so you can see your standings. Jason Martin leading Edward Foster by 2.1 seconds. Jake Blackhall, he's sitting in third at the moment with Dave Douglas fourth. He's having a battle at the moment with Roger Clark, who's in fifth. Then Danny G and Norman Clark are battling for sixth position. Matt Stratford, he is also trying to get into this battle, and he's got Steve Williams just behind him, and rounding out your top 10 is Darren O'Brien.
Yep, so Dave Douglas actually caught up to Roger Clark and took away that fourth position from Roger finally. Roger did make a very good move at the beginning of the race, where he stayed out. These guys, the other guys, had all pitted for tires. He stayed out. He gained a few positions, and he was able just to hold on to that fourth position all the way up until 10 laps remaining, when Dave Douglas just drove around them on the outside.
See now Steve Williams on the 98. He's having a look on the inside of Matt Stratford. Takes the low line. Is he going to pull this off? He does, as he comes across there now to take that position. That's also brought the 23 up, and I'm trying to get a number. Who is that 23? Because I don't think he's on the lead lap. That's Raymond Yeager. He's 2 laps down.
Yeah, so he must have pitted and grabbed some more tires, and he's gone out there. As Steve Williams has moved up in the 8th position, Darren O'Brien is now in the 9th, and Matt Stratford has moved back into the 10th position after starting in 23rd position.
Yeah, so the cars that we haven't had one retirement yet, folks. We've had plenty of cars in trouble out here tonight, though, and those people are Jason Fewens, James Foster's come to grief as well, and a number of other cars are down a lap. But well, let's go through them. Jason Rest, Riley Curtis, Tim, Darren Lord, Daniel Trim. He was looking really racy until he got that thing all crossed up. Raymond Yeager, James Foster, Rodney Morris, Steve Hoppett and Jason Fewens all down off the lead lap here. But at the moment, Jason Martin, he's trying to take it. 5 laps to go. Can he take back-to-back victory here? He took last round. Looks like he's going to take this round as well.
Yeah, so as we see the 23, Raymond Yeager has just went around Norman Clark. Danny G is going to really try to make this time back up that he lost. He wants to get a 6th place back. Even though there's a big gap, he can still make it up. There's only 4 laps he's got to work with. So we'll see if he can't make that back up. As we also see Jake Blackhall is now starting to come under fire. He actually got passed by Dave Douglas. Dave Douglas is moving through this field right now. He's up in the 3rd place, and he's 4 seconds behind our leader, Jason Martin. I don't think he can get it there. but he's only a second and a half behind Edward Foster. There's a possibility that he could maybe bring that number 10 truck home in second place.
Yeah, all of a sudden Dave Douglas is coming alive, and we're riding on the roof cam now. You can see his quarry just ahead of him. That's Edward Foster, sorry. And it looks like Edward's running around with Daniel Trim just in front of him.
Yeah, it looks about like Dave Douglas can run about 1 to 2 to 3 tenths faster than Edward Foster. I don't know if that's going to be enough to make that spot up, but if Edward Foster makes a mistake in these last 2 laps, don't count out that number 10 truck for being in second place, as he's actually he's the fastest truck on the track at the current moment.
Yeah, he's definitely hunting him down, but I reckon the saving grace for Edward here is he's got Daniel Trim in front of him. Daniel's not racing for position, but what he can do is he can get into that draft and help him tow him around here. He's got 2 laps remaining here at Las Vegas.
Yep, and father-son combo of Roger and Norman Clark sees Norman just past Roger there on the last lap. We are currently on the last lap, and it looks like Norman is going to take that 5th position away from Roger, and Roger has Danny G right behind him. We'll see if he can't hold on to this 6th position on the final lap, and Danny G takes the outside.
So you can see now Jason Martin coming across the start-finish line here to take the checkered flag. And Edward Foster, he did hold on to 2nd. Dave Douglas, he was on the move in 3rd. Jake Blackhall comes home in 4th position. Norman Clark, he holds out his son Roger for 5th position. And Danny G, looks like he settled for 7th. 8th was Steve Williams. And then Craig Lawless, 9th. And rounding out your top 10, Matt Stratford. So Matt did pretty well considering he started at the back of the field, which was 24 strong tonight. He came home in 10th.
That was a real good run from him. Phil Lotto, after having that the only safety car come out for him, he actually managed to bring himself back into 11th position. So it was a good recovery from him. He started in 11th, had a wreck, came back, finished 11th. Daniel Stevens will finish out in the 12th position. And those were the lead lap cars. As we see, Tim Faults finished in 13th, Darren O'Brien 14th, Darren Vaughn 15th, Daniel Trim 16th after that bad wreck we saw him in. Raymond Jaeger, he would also finish in 17th position, 2 laps down following Daniel. Darren Lord 18th, James Foster 19th, Rodney Morris will finish up in the 20th position, Jason Russ 21st. Riley Curtis 22nd, Steve Hoppett 23rd, and Jason Flynn's in the 24th position.
Yeah, so what did you think of that race, Ryan? What's your thoughts on it?
I enjoyed it. You saw a lot of people moving around. These drivers really starting to figure out how to work the extra grooves that you can run. If you can run those higher grooves, that really helps you out as a driver, and that you can really start to take away some of these things that you're starting to learn at some of these other tracks, and then apply those later on in the series. This race, while not extremely exciting up front, it was extremely exciting throughout the race to see what these guys are doing, tire saving, using different lines, as we also saw Roger Clark. He finished in 7th position. He would have finished in the 5th position had he not ran out of gas. He actually ran out of gas coming into turn 3. That's why we saw him down on power, and that's why I saw Danny G just run past him that last lap. And so you also had fuel mileage in here too, because we did not have a yellow for those last little bit, so it was right on the edge of their fuel mileage. So overall, great race, and congrats to JC Martin going back to back. So we have between him and Jake Blackhall when it comes down to the top runners in this series.
Yeah, exactly, because Jake Blackhall, he took out rounds 1 and 2 back-to-back. Now, Jason Martin's answered the challenge round 3 and 4 back-to-back. So, as you said, it's between them. But we've got a few people in the green room waiting for an interview down there. And just having a look, we could bring up Edward Foster first, because Edward came home in second. We've also got Jake Blackhall down there, Dave Douglas and Danny G. So I'll bring up Edward Foster and let's have a chat. Hi Edward, welcome to the RRTV Combox, mate. And you finally got one up on your little brother.
Yeah, certainly did. It was an interesting race, wasn't it? Only one caution and a bit of tyre saving and fuel strategy coming into it. So yeah, very good to see.
Yeah, there was a lot of action off track, but because all the incidents happened below the white line, it didn't bring out any pace car. But completely different pace compared to last week. How did your truck go tonight? It looked like it was pretty well hooked up, and you're very racy there up in second spot.
Yeah, it was one of those where I wasn't really sure throughout practice how much pace we actually had. One lap pace seemed okay, but it turned out good qualifying lap. Was able to, I guess, start at the front and keep clear of all the everything that you were talking about that I wasn't even aware of that was happening further down the field. And then after a few laps, I was still right on the tail of Blackhall and Martin. I'm like, okay, well, I'm still here, so this is obviously a good sign. And then, I know that's one of the things that Jason Martin is really, really good at. Not only is he really fast, but he's an absolute master of saving tyres. So I just tried to actually copy what he was doing. And it worked. Tyres held out. I'm fairly sure they held out better than Jake's and better than most people's. And there was a bit of fuel saving and clutching into the corners at the end to try and make it last because I was a lap short with about 13 to go. But managed to hit 0.0 as I crossed the line. So very pleased.
Yeah, fantastic drive. I'm going to hand you over here to Ryan, and I'm sure he's got some more questions for you, Edward.
Yeah, man. Congrats on the second place. That's your best finish of the series, if I remember correctly. How did you know when you're going to move up and down the track? First of all, thank you. It is my best finish of the series by around about 15 places. So it's a massive improvement the way things have been going. But it was more a case of copying what Jason did. I know that Jason's been doing this for a long time. And like I said, I know he's really excellent at saving tyres. So I thought, okay, if this race is going to see lots of green flag runs, let's copy what he's doing. And that's basically what I did, and it worked out perfectly. I'll have to follow him more often. Well, you'll have to start showing him the way here shortly if you want to grab one of these wins from him or Jake Blackhall. So how did, with the track evolving throughout the race, were you able to move wherever you wanted, or did the truck get a little too tight for you to use that bottom line, especially when passing some of the lap down cars?
Yeah, it certainly wasn't really dictated by the track as much as it was the tyre wear. You could find that you were able to hold on quite nicely on that bottom run for about the first 5-6 laps, and after that you need to start being a bit creative. So after that you'd sort of go high in, low out to try and just minimise that turning radius that you're doing, and then after a while you start to run out of grip completely, and you just had no choice but to really try and run that high line, especially through 1 and 2 where it's working very well, and to really try and gain that momentum off turn 2.
10-4. Well, congrats on the second place. We'll see you next week.
Excellent. Thanks very much. And shouts out to RRTV and you guys for obviously continuing to support the series. I'm hoping it was a good show from your end.
Yeah, it was definitely a different pace compared to last week. Very exciting racing. So, well done to all the drivers out there tonight.
Excellent, boys. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Edward Foster. The next person we're going to bring up is Dave Douglas. Dave came home in third, and he must have been one of the the driver's storming through the field towards the end there, Ryan. But I'll bring him up and you can have a chat with him.
Absolutely. What's going on, Dave? It looks like you finished third after kind of having a mid-race slump. It looked like you were probably just saving tires, but from us, we just totally forgot about it. We saw you just started storming through the field there at the end. How hard was it to actually save tires here?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. I was sort of just sitting on that high line and letting the guys take it if they want to take it. And a few did, a few tried, a few didn't. And really that was my game plan the whole race, was just to sit up high and just save those tyres basically. And hopefully they came back to me at the end and they ended up doing that a little bit.
Yeah, because it looked like you were battling there for a little while with Danny G and Matt Stratford and a couple of those guys, especially down there, with about 20 laps to go. And then it just looks like you just rocketed out with a cannon as those guys started to wear those tires down. So you just wanted to run your own race, is that correct?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. That's what that middle lane, I ran that lane pretty much the whole race. And as I said, those guys, they came up, they had a crack, couldn't get past on the inside, so I just ended up driving away, let them use their tyres up, which they did.
Yeah, and with the fuel mileage, were you saving fuel throughout the whole run, or did you notice with about 15 laps to go that you were short?
Midway through the first green run, I noticed that we'd have to make green flag stops if it stayed green. And I knew it was about 35 laps or so, so I sort of timed it. Under that caution, I was just clutching it, saving fuel the whole time we were under caution. I think that helped, but also the fact that when I was saving the tyres, I wasn't driving into the corner as hard. I was lifting a fair way out, so it all sort of was a combination of things, and it worked out pretty close actually.
Cool deal. Well, congrats on your third place finish. And if you want to give a shout out for your sponsors who made probably the coolest looking truck on the track today, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, definitely. Cheers, guys. Riley Curtis Designs for the paintwork. Props to him. Ash Media, Speedway Footage, and CapSafe. And big shout out to the guys at ANZCAR for putting on a good show.
Yep, fantastic, folks. That was Dave Douglas. He came home third in one of the better looking trucks here tonight. That's for sure. And the next person we're going to have a chat with is Jake Blackhall. And let's find out if he had fuel problems like he did last week. Hi, Jake. Welcome. Oh, better fix him up first. Hang on. There we go. Hi Jake, welcome to the RRTV Combox, mate. Fourth position tonight. We noticed you're slowing a little bit. Were you having fuel problems again tonight?
I think we all were. We're all trying to fuel save there at the end. I was just saving a little bit more than everyone else, hoping some people didn't, so that I could run flat out on that last lap. That was the case, but I know I don't have the pace at the moment, so I'm sort of conceding at the moment. But it was one of those things coming into this series. I knew that Jason was going to be fast, and congratulations to Jason on another win. It was more the fight for second to be the best of the rest, really.
Yeah, well, coming into tonight's race, did it surprise you that we really only had one pace car or one yellow out there tonight, and the rest of it was pretty much racing? It was almost like a sprint race out there tonight.
Yeah, it was sort of a weird sprint race, Bernie, because we were all trying to save gas, and I think everyone sort of figured that out pretty quickly, which was what I was not hoping for. But yeah, it was weird. I thought we may have had a couple more cautions, especially at Vegas. Vegas is a very fast track. A lot of the time, you're 100% throttle, so especially on fresh tires. So I thought a couple of people might be diving in there on the racetrack, but just weren't. So yeah, it was an interesting one, but it was good to have some long green flag runs. That's what it needs, and it's good to actually be able to have a green flag race and pretty much get it done with only one caution.
Yeah, I reckon we're going to make one big improvement to it, and that is I'm going to have a big yellow button here, so whenever the field gets spread out, Ryan and myself, we can just whack it, and the pace car will come out.
Yeah, I know most people don't like the stage racing in NASCAR currently, so that's kind of what it is. But Jake, as you were alluding to with the fuel mileage, were you also trying to save tires too to see if you could make a late run jump towards the front?
Tires weren't really my issue, really, there. I was more focusing on the fuel, because if I knew I had enough fuel for that last sort of lap where I could actually run flat out, if people did run out, which people did, I just wasn't close enough to capitalise from it. That was the whole idea of it. So the tyres were just sort of, but when you're saving fuel as well, you're saving tyres at the same time. So they both work hand in hand.
Cool beans. And did you have, how did you know when to move around the track, when to go low, when to go high? Was that just kind of a feel thing, or did you look up ahead and see what Jason and Edward were doing?
More of a feel. You can definitely feel it now more than ever, especially with the latest patch where they actually fixed the progression from on the track from a quality attached server, which is a whole lot to get into. But now that it's properly how it should be and the server's getting the correct information, it's actually making it really easy to feel the difference now, because it just will heat up that track so much easier. Then you'll want to move straight out of it to try and get away from it and try and find somewhere that's not as hot, but still got a little bit more grip in the track. So you can definitely feel the difference now between each of the lines, which is really good to see.
Well, we hope to see you next week, and you and Jason will have a battle for the rest of the season, that's for sure. And I know your sponsors will definitely like to hear your voice.
I think they get sick of me at the moment. A massive shout out to Logitech, Joel Real Timing, GTI Springs, Asher Racing for all their support.
Fantastic, Jake. Well, once again, not a bad run, top 5 finish, so you can't sneeze at that. But we'll see you next week. Not sure where we're going, but I'm sure it's going to be an oval track somewhere.
It's a good old short track called Martinsville, so we should have a lot of fun there, and I expect we'll have more than one caution. So get ready for that one.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Anyway, Jake, thanks for popping in, mate. We'll catch you next week.
Cheers, guys.
And our final interview for tonight is Danny G. He came home 7th, Ryan. Hi Danny, welcome to RRTV's Combox, mate. Thanks for waiting. 7th position tonight, not too bad. Up 13 from where you started, so that you must be up for the biggest mover award at this point.
Yeah, cheers guys. Yeah, that was an awesome race. I'm pretty happy to finish there. I think my screen said 6th, but I'll take 7th.
Yeah, it was 6th place.
Okay, my telemetry's wrong, so we'll give you 6.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so as far as the race went tonight, did it go to plan for you, or were you expecting a few more yellows?
I was happy with how it went, with just the one yellow. Just wish it was just a tad little bit longer to have another pit stop. But other than that, I think we're all happy with everybody, and everyone raced really well, and it was clean, and so I hope you guys actually enjoyed it too.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. We actually even had one of the cars, who was it? Jason Fewens. He gets the Ballerina Award. He actually launched the car across the inside fence, and he had to drive through the infield to try to work out how to get back on the track.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he gets that award. But I'll hand you over to Ryan, and because I'm a little bit croaky tonight, and we'll see if he's got any more questions for you, Daniel.
Yeah, Danny. So you passed a lot of cars, or a lot of trucks tonight. Did you find a line that worked for you that wasn't really working for qualifying, or did you just happen to find a line that the other guys weren't?
I still don't think I can find the line. I mean, in qualifying, I was that far off. I was foot to the floor too during practice, and I was 2 tenths off everybody else. So I knew I was going to qualify towards the rear, and I just thought I've just got to save the tyres, pick the line I know works for me, and just keep at it.
Yeah, so normally when you get these flat tracks, or where you're flat out, normally it comes down to your line and also how you exit turn forward. What you'll see a lot of these guys do, especially in qualifying, is use the high line through 3 and 4 to get a little more speed and pick some up. But did you happen to notice that the track changed when you were trying to make a pass here and there, or were you just running your line the whole time?
I could see the top line starting to come in for people. I just didn't have the confidence to go up there because I just thought I was too tight. But I did make some moves up on the outside. If I just backed off the throttle a bit sooner before corner entry, I could sort of get on the outside of them, pin them down, and sort of drag race off turn 4, which worked a few times.
Yeah, it really seems to be a really good tactic, especially in these trucks, and especially with turn 1 being completely in the shade. It's a really good idea to do. And also, it looked like you made a lot of passes, especially right there at the very, very end. Were those guys just running out of fuel, or do you know what was happening with those guys?
I believe Roger might have been running out of fuel, or at least trying to save to get to the end. I ran out just as I crossed the line, and it started to sputter just before the line. And I think I just saved those tyres. I mean, it's hard to save the tyres because when you got pack behind you and they're really angry and they want to get past you and I'm trying to save, and you got to go a little bit harder to try and keep in front of them. You're not saving the tyres, but I think I did quite well.
Well, congrats on the finish, 6th place. That's going to be a really good points-paying day. And next week at Martinsville, how are you looking forward to switching it up completely?
Man, Martinsville is very special to me. I've got a lot of history just watching Jeff Gordon win there all my life, and actually went there in 2015 and watched Jeff Gordon win his last race. It means a hell of a lot, but unfortunately I won't be there because I'll be at Bathurst watching the Bathurst 1000. I'm camping on top of the hill, but I'll be watching you guys on the Thursday night, sure.
That 2015 win by Jeff Gordon will be, especially in us Americans, we definitely look back on that one as one of the best ones that we've seen. And hopefully one day I can join you up there on top of the mountain.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was a great win.
Yeah, fantastic, Daniel. So you're saying we won't see you next week. You're going up to Mount Panorama, is that right?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, it sounds...
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I was going to say, it sounds like you're being dragged by your toenails up there. But I'm sure you're going to be in for a good time. Have you been up there before for a V8 race, like Bathurst?
Yeah, I've been to 3 Bathurst before. This is our first year camping. And I'm really looking forward to it. Going to go up tomorrow, so spending the 10 nights or 11 nights, I think it is, just doing the whole weekend, the whole week and weekend.
Man.
Journey.
That is a journey.
Yeah, it is.
I'm thinking maybe next week we'll call a race from Mount Panorama. Now, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
I'll join.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But anyway, Daniel, have a safe trip up to Bathurst. Have a great 11 days. I was up there for the 11 hour and I absolutely enjoyed it. 12 hours, sorry, that's what I was for. But yeah, you can go and enjoy the 1000. It only runs half as long though.
That's true. Thank you, guys.
All right, see you, buddy.
See you.
So, folks, that's the end of our interviews, but let's go through the final positions one more time so we can find out who the biggest mover and shaker is for this evening. So, having a look at the final results, Jason Martin takes the win back to back. He won last week, won again this week. Edward Foster comes home in second. Dave Douglas moved up one position to finish in third, with Jake Blackhall dropping down 2 to finish in fourth. Norman Clark comes home in fifth. Sixth position was Danny G, up 13 from where he started. Roger Clark 7th. 8th was Stephen Williams. 9th was Craig Lawless. He also jumped 9 positions from where he started. Matt Stratford comes home in 10th, jumping 13 positions from where he started. Looking in 11th was Phil Otto. Daniel Stevens comes home in 12th position. In 13th was Tim, and then we had up 8 was Darren O'Brien in 14th. 15th, Darren Bond. 16th was Daniel Trim. 17th, Raymond Yeager. He dropped 7 from where he started. Then Darren Lord in 18th dropped 12, and James Foster dropped 14 to come home in 19th. 20th was Rodney Morris. 21st, Jason Ress, and then we had Riley Curtis in 22nd. 23rd, Steve Hoppett and Jason Fewens rounds out our field of 24. So the biggest shaker, it looks like it was James Foster tonight.
Yeah, it was between him and Matt Stratford. Both of them made up 13 positions from their original starting spot. So good job on both of them, and I'm sure both are going to be excited about next week at Martinsville. But that's going to be a place where you probably won't see somebody gain 13 positions. It's very hard to pass at Martinsville.
Yeah, well, it'll probably not run as cleanly as it did tonight either, because I don't know about you, Ryan, but that race went by very, very quickly.
Absolutely, yeah, especially there towards the end. I didn't realize there was only 10 laps remaining. I thought we still had more laps to go. I thought we were going to have some green flag stops. But it was definitely an enjoyable race, and I love races like that where there's very little cautions. It's more on who has the best strategy. So something like that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun, that's for sure. And speaking of fun, folks, later this week, well, not much left of this week, tomorrow night, Friday night, 9:15pm, the Australian Online Supercar Championship comes back on RRTV. I'll have Daniel Leet in the combox with me to call all that action. And then, of course, on Saturday night, round 3 of the iRacing World's Fastest Gamer qualifier. That's the Australian-New Zealand split. We're going to Monza, and that starts at 8pm GMT plus 10. And Alex McCullough and myself will be calling all that action. And we'll also have a look at the leaderboards to see who's in the box seat to get a golden ticket to the final rounds of the World's Fastest Gamer, because of course the winner of this qualifier, they get one seat. They get to go and do the interviews and all the rest to see if they can actually snatch that prize of a racing driver, simulator driver, I guess it is, for McLaren Formula 1 team. So it's a big prize there. But as far as tonight goes, Ryan, well, this morning for you, I'm not sure what time it is over there. It must be like 7:15.
You'd be correct. It is right on the dot at 7:15.
There you go. So a big thanks to you, Ryan, for joining me once again tonight. It's a big ask to get you out of bed so early over there and to call all the action, but I personally do appreciate it a lot, and you bring a lot to this broadcast. So thank you very much.
Yeah, man. As always, it's a joy to be here. It's a lot of fun, and being up at 5 o'clock in the morning is normally something I'm used to. Maybe a night shift, so for me it's not too bad. And like I said, I enjoy doing this, and it's a lot of fun, especially doing my first iRacing broadcast. Just 2 weeks ago, it was my first one, and this being my second, so I'm starting to learn, starting to enjoy it a lot more, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I know it.
Yeah, it certainly is, and the ANZCAR league, they're growing from strength to strength. They announced when was it, yesterday, in conjunction with RRTV, they will be running the Daytona 500 next February. That's the 10th of February, and that will be broadcast on RRTV. That's going to be the full length race, Ryan, so that's going to be pretty exciting, that's for sure.
Yeah, 4 hours. 4 hours of 200 miles an hour racing. And it's not like, in the V8 supercars where a 4-hour race you would have a co-driver. In Daytona, you do not have a co-driver. You're by yourself. You are doing 200 miles an hour for 180 laps. 180 laps. No, actually, it's 200 laps. My bad. It's 200 laps by yourself doing 200 miles an hour, and it is insane to watch, and it is insane to do. So me personally, I can't do it. It's a little too long for me, but I will definitely be here to broadcast if the scheduling works out.
Yep, no worries. We'll nut that out. We've got about another 4 months till that comes up, but that's something for the viewers to put in there viewing schedule for next year, that's for sure. But also, folks, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a bit of a mix-up. We're going through that strange time of the year where we're getting daylight saving coming in different countries, and we had to start half an hour earlier tonight because New Zealand came into daylight savings. I know Australia's going to be coming in next week, and then all the iRacing live schedule for RRTV will be updated, so just bear with us for this week until this crazy daylight savings thing works itself out, and then we'll be back on easy running, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think our daylight time is late October, so you'll have to adjust it again because iRacing Live will be adjusted too. So it's going to be a little hectic with times here next coming weeks.
Yeah, so just bear with us, folks, as we try to catch up with all this daylight savings fun, that's for sure. But anyway, folks, thanks for joining us tonight, whether you joined us on the YouTube channel or through iRacing Live. We really appreciate your company. Hopefully we'll see you back again tomorrow night for the Australian Online Supercar Championships, and if you like your NASCAR action, you'll definitely like the V8 Supercars. But until next time, folks, on behalf of Ryan Shelton, I'm Bernie Weemers. Thanks for joining us. Hope you have a great Friday, and we look forward to your company next time. Good night.